Welcome back, viewers and subscribers. It's your girl, Star Flames, and we're back, honey, with another fiery lawsuit. This lawsuit has to do with Fat Joe, who's being represented by Joe Tacopina, honey. And you know, Joe, or should we say ASAP Joe at this point in time, right? We know that ASAP Joe doesn't play about his clients, and he's not into those shady little gimmicks and schemes to get his clients out of trouble or to win a lawsuit. He deals with the cold, straight, hard facts, and he uses, if you're not able to keep up with your own words, Joe is gonna use them ish against you like a nightmare. You're gonna see a awakening like you've never saw coming. That's how Joe works. He basically uses your own words, your own slip-ups against you. Now, representing this accuser, this former staffer of Fat Joe, this person is Dixon, right? That's the name of the guy that is suing Fat Joe. Dixon is being represented by Tyrone Blackburn. I don't know. There are two attorneys that I cannot take serious, or should I say three at this point in time. Lisa Bloom, Tony Busby, Tyrone Blackburn, especially Tyrone Blackburn and Tony Busby. When I hear those two names, it's all gimmicks for me. And not only that, it doesn't stop here. Guess who is coming up in this report? Storm Monroe, honey. Storm Monroe. Now let's get into the details because this is a pretty interesting one. So, what had happened was, according to what is, in the lawsuit and reports, Fat Joe hired Dixon. Dixon began working for him in 2006. Fat Joe offered Dixon a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of the team. With being a part of Fat Joe's team, he will be complete with compensation, such as he'll get compensation, right? So travel, luxurious travel, touring, and other fringe benefits that accompanies being in a superstar rapper's inner circle, right? So that's 2006. Now, this guy stopped working. Their partnership ended in 2019. So we can say that's 13 years, right? And he said that, so Fat Joe is saying after the split in 2019, he never heard any complaints or anything from Dixon until 6 years after this year, March, wherein Dixon began posting, comments about him on social media saying that he should have been paid more. And he basically fired off on Fat Joe with a demands letter in March, demanding that Fat Joe compensates him as his ghostwriter on several of his tracks. So, you know that if not true, sometimes even if it is true, however, because Fat Joe, based on what we know, he has been a decent individual in the industry. We have never heard of this guy trying to rob people or anything like that. There are one and two off situations, but for the most part, is the one that normally lobbies for the peace, lobbies for people to be treated fairly and all of that. He's like, when someone is an advocate but doesn't go out and brag and brand themselves to be an advocate for the Black community, that is who Fat Joe is, right? However, not saying that Dixon's allegations are completely false, just putting that out there, right? So, Fat Joe basically says, you know what? He's not going to pay Dixon for any of those things because it's not true. When Dixon realized that his demands were not being met, Fat Joe said that Dixon went about and he started upping the ante by spreading salacious lies about him and falsely claiming that Joe blocked him from obtaining outside funding for his own record label startup. Not only that, Fat Joe is saying this man lied on him, saying that he flew a 16-year-old girl across state borders. This man is calling him a Pedialyte. No, this is where Storm Monroe comes in because there's a post that Storm Monroe made via his Instagram page. And let me see if I can find this post because it's actually showing you the post in the article. He says, so on the post, Storm Monroe says, Fat Joe continues to be called out by and he has his handle at ta dot all day. Do you all believe the claims or does it even matter at this point? Storm Monroe being messy. And then in the post, he has, you smash Erica Mena, your man's BM sucker 100% because she was throwing it at you. And I told you once again, chill. She's trying to put you at odds with her boyfriend. For you to entertain that or think about it was super foul. And you call yourself a brother on the real book. So this is something that, the guy who is suing Fat Joe posted and Storm Monroe is reposting it, asking his fans, Storm Monroe being the messy Storm Monroe he is, like, guys, do you believe it? Fat Joe continues to be called this. Do y'all believe it's true? And then he's like, or does it even matter at this point? Because he's like, oh my God, this is so messy. This tea is so piping hot, So that post came up in the article, right? However, Tyrone Blackburn is saying that, Fat Joe taking legal actions against his client is just a cover-up attempt and his client isn't backing down, saying Joe filed a baseless lawsuit in an effort to soften the blow of what to come. It won't work. Fat Joe has a lot of explaining to do. No, Fat Joe is fiercely defending himself. He says that the allegations are completely false and a part of criminal conspiracy orchestrated between a disgruntled former hype man and his attorney. Now, these two individuals, they have been scheming together to extort me with their elaborate ludicrous demands changing by the day. So that is what Fat Joe is saying. He's calling, Tyrone Blackburn and Dixon, he's calling them, their plots a criminal conspiracy. So he's saying they're just trying to extort him. Now, he further states that the relentless threats, harassment, and defamation I've endured as they peddle salacious lies are utterly deplorable. I'm taking legal action to expose their misconduct, and I'm fully confident that the fact will reveal this is nothing more than a deceptive and desperate scam. And Joe Tacopina is slamming the lawsuit altogether and is telling TMZ that the allegations against Mr. Cartagena, who is Fat Joe, are completely false and part of a criminal extortion scheme orchestrated by attorney who a federal judge recently condemned for abusing the court system to harass and pressure defendants. Honey, when I tell you that Joe Tacopina is about to twist up Tyrone Blackburn's ass, I wish this was a case, I wish they would make each hearing public. I wish it would be televised like the Ace of Rocky trial because I want to see how Joe twists Blackburn because he's going to use all of Tyrone's Blackburn mishandling mishaps from his past to expose the mess and just to ruin Tyrone Blackburn and Dixon, right? So Joe Tacopina is saying Mr. Cartagena will not be intimidated by fabricated claims, lies of witnesses, or shameless threats. We are taking immediate legal actions to expose this fraudulent scheme, and we will hold all parties responsible fully accountable. Tacopina also sent Tyrone Blackburn a cease-and-desist, reminding him of his recent misconduct. A judge warned him over in Diddy's lawsuit. Honey, when I tell you that Joe is that man, Joe doesn't play. Because as I've said, once he realizes that you miss one time, you slip. When it comes to Joe Tacopina, honey, there's no room for error. If you dare make a minute mistake, he's coming for the ass and he's using your error against you brutally. He's gonna use Tyrone Blackburn's weakness and hand him savagely. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what he does. No, on the end of Dixon, I have no idea who this guy is, but I do believe that if he's not paid for his work, if he was not properly compensated, I believe that he should be properly compensated, providing that what he's saying is factual. But you never know, honey. You never know. But I want to hear from you guys. What's your take about this lawsuit involving Tyrone Blackburn, Joe Tacopina as the attorney with Fat Joe and his former staffer? I want to hear from you guys. While you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up, share, stay safe, and we're going to talk some more in the comment section. Peace.